Hey, what's up guys? Eric Thane here from Cinema Mastery, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about why you should shoot your next video on a RED. All right, so I know there's a lot of debate out there, and you'll often hear the gurus saying stuff like the camera doesn't matter or things like that. In fact, you'll hear me say that if you watch me on Instagram or Facebook or any of my content. You'll hear me say the same thing, that the camera doesn't matter, right? But then there's other people that will come in and say, no, the camera does matter. It's super important. And before I jump into it, I just want to create a delineation between those two things. Like, why do people say the camera doesn't matter, and then why do they sometimes also say that it does matter? And in what cases does it matter and does it not? And since we're talking about cameras today and why I think you should shoot on a RED or an ARRI camera as soon as humanly possible, let's kind of talk about that. So I think the important thing to understand is that when someone says that the camera doesn't matter, you've got to understand the context of where that's coming from. Or when I say that, what I mean, and I think what most people mean, what we mean when we say the camera doesn't matter, is we're typically talking to people who are more beginners at the craft. If you're just starting out as a filmmaker, or maybe you have a few years experience and your work, still has a lot of room for improvement, you're still trying to get that high quality cinematic look, you are still getting low paying clients, you're still growing as a filmmaker, then in your case, that's where that becomes true. The camera doesn't matter as much. And what we mean by that is, hey, don't go out and spend your entire life savings on buying a huge expensive camera thinking that it's going to automatically make your work look amazing or just immediately get you high paying clients. Because the reality is that that's not going to happen. Your time and your energy and your money would be better spent invested in learning the fundamentals of cinematography and the principles of filmmaking and learning how to create high quality cinematic work, how to get high paying clients, so the fundamentals of marketing and sales, and those things are going to get you better results than going out and spending a ton of money on a camera. So focus on learning those principles first and getting good at it until you get to the point where you can make your cheaper camera, like your DSLR, your mirrorless camera, look absolutely amazing, because there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. So learn how to make that look amazing, learn how to get high paying clients using that camera, and then from there, that's where the camera is going to come into play. So on one side, don't go out and spend your entire life savings on an expensive camera if you're just starting out. And on the flip side, when you are able to, I believe that you should try to shoot on the best tools that you have possibly available to you whenever you possibly can. So with that being said, let's jump into the top 3 reasons why I think you should shoot your next video on a RED or an ARRI camera if possible. Okay, so number 1, it's just the right tool. I remember when I was starting out, and the very first time that I shot on a RED camera, and I was shooting a passion project for a luxury hotel video, and I was really excited about it. I was going to be shooting on this camera. I was like, I've never used this before, but I had spent a lot of time before that learning cinematography and shooting on cheaper cameras. And so I was creating a lot of content. I was pumping stuff out. I was making stuff all the time. I was shooting, I was lighting. I understood composition and camera settings and lighting and editing and all that kind of stuff. And so I put a lot of time into learning the principles of cinematography. And then when I got to this shoot, where the client had a little bit of a budget, and I decided to take all of that budget and put it into a little bit of crew and the RED camera and some gear and all that kind of stuff so that I could do it as a passion project. And so when I went and I shot that project, I remember looking at the footage after shooting that project and going, wow, I can't believe that I shot this. That was the reaction that I had to it. And the reason was because it felt like I had spent all these years learning the principles of cinematography and getting good at the craft of cinematography. And then it was like somebody took the right tool and put it in my hands. And suddenly I was using the right tool, like the cinematographer's tool. And the reality is that these cinema cameras, like RED and ARRI cameras, they are made for high-end filmmaking, right? They're not photography cameras with video features. They are video cameras, if you will. They're cinema cameras. They're made for shooting movies. And so the features that they have, the processors they have, the sensors they use, the dynamic range, the color science, everything that's involved with a camera like that is designed to be shooting for this purpose. And so when you take those skills of understanding the cinematography and you put one of those cameras in your hands, it's like magic happens, all right? And that was how I felt. And so that's the number 1 reason why I think that it's so important to get to that point where you're shooting with these cameras, is because you're gonna realize that wow, this is the right tool. And finally, I'm able to take my work that's already good and just put this level of polish and professionalism on top of it that just really takes it to the next level. Okay, number 2 is that you will take yourself more seriously. Now, Eric, why is this important? So a lot of people go out there telling me about how they invested in a expensive camera system. They invested in it in order to get higher paying clients. As if I buy this camera and I get this expensive system, then clients will pay me higher prices because I have a more expensive camera. Now, from my experience, I don't believe that that's really true. The reality is that most clients that are out there, sure, maybe some of them know what different cameras are and they know how much they cost, but most of your clients don't know the difference between a Canon DSLR and a RED camera, except that they look different. So it's not really your clients going, oh, what are you shooting on? Oh, it's a RED? Okay, fine, I'll pay you $20,000. That's not really how it works. It's more so what happens is, and you'll notice that people who do go out and just buy these cameras typically end up charging higher prices. And the reason is because by owning that camera, they feel more confidence about the quality of their work, and therefore they have the confidence to go out and charge high prices. Now, confidence is a major ingredient in the ability to sell your work for high prices. And so therefore, by having an expensive camera where you know that this is worth it, and you're like, hey, I own a camera that costs $10,000 or $20,000 or even more, then you feel more confident going out and saying like, hey, I need you to pay me 10 or 20K in order to do this job. Right? And so what's happening is really the confidence is coming from the camera, which is allowing the person to charge more. But imagine if you could, without going out and spending a ton of money on a camera, if you could learn to have that confidence and understand that there's so much value in your work, regardless of what camera that you're using, so that you can have the confidence to go out and go to your clients and charge them those prices, even if you're shooting on a cheaper camera. So by shooting on more expensive cameras, and by the way, you don't have to own them, you can rent them for your project, it's going to give you the confidence to go out and charge higher prices because you will feel internally more confident about your work because you know that you're using the best tools in the industry. Now, if you want to learn more about how to charge high prices, even if you don't have an expensive camera, even if you don't have a big crew or a big studio or tons of experience or anything like that, believe it or not, it is possible to do that, and I have a free training that shows you exactly how. So I'll put the link to it down in the description below. Make sure you check that out if that's something you're interested in learning. You can kind of open it in another tab, finish this video, and then go over there and watch that, and I'm sure you'll love it. So number 3 reason why you should shoot your next video on a RED or ARRI camera, kind of going along with the last one, is that your clients will take you more seriously. Now, I have to be clear on this one because I think there's a big misconception out there that if you just go buy an expensive camera, that clients will just like appear out of nowhere and they'll think that you're amazing and that you're this crazy professional and they'll want to pay you high prices and that all this stuff will happen just by owning a camera. And the reality is that, like, from my experience, that's not how it works. The reality is the people that get the high paying clients, that attract the clients to them, are the ones who are really good at marketing and who are really good at sales. It really doesn't have as much to do about the camera as you would think. But the important thing to keep in mind here is that when you get to that level and you've got clients that are hiring you and they're paying you high prices and you're creating amazing work, what you're going to be able to do is, if you get a bigger, more expensive camera on set, they're going to take you more seriously. They're going to feel more confident that they are getting their money's worth for the price that they paid you. So when I go on set and I'm working with my clients, I'll admit, like, I typically put rails on my camera. I put a matte box on it. I put a follow focus on it. I put the monitor on it. Like, I kit it out. I rig it out so it's big and it looks bulky. And part of the reason is because I'm using those tools like the matte box and the follow focus and everything like that. But even if I don't necessarily need them, I'm still putting them on there partially in a way because it makes the camera look bigger. Now, I'm not doing that because I think that, like, my clients pay me high prices because of my camera, but what it does is, in a way, when they pay a high price for a video and they want a professional to come in and do it, there is a certain level of expectation that you're going to show up with, like, the best tools in the industry. Something that looks different from the DSLR that they own and that they have in their bag, right? And so by showing up with something that is more professional looking, it does increase the look of what your production looks like, okay? It makes you look more professional. And so if you want your clients to take you more seriously at that level, shooting on a bigger camera, like a RED or an ARRI, a cinema camera, is going to help with that. Now, like I said, this is not the thing that's going to get you like amazing clients right out the gate. Like this is just a small part of the equation, but it will have that advantage of your clients taking you more seriously on set if you're shooting on something that is a little bit bigger and more professional. All right, guys, so there you go. There's my top 3 reasons why I believe you should shoot your next video on a Red or an Arri camera. Comment down below, let me know what's your favorite camera or what's your dream camera that you want to shoot on eventually. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and then we will see you on the next video.